Hey guys, I'm Ron Carpenter. I want to welcome you to Ron Carpenter Television, and we're having some fun with this one. You know, it's really challenging information, but the fact is the Bible speaks so much about relationships, and the fact is so many of the relationships are difficult. They're difficult to navigate through. Why? People change, we change, seasons change, and you have to be able to navigate through the change and adapt. And the word that you use to adapt is love. Love allows you to move through all the minutiae of change and all the dynamics of seasons. And I just want to bring a word of encouragement to you who feel like maybe your relationships are just going off the cliff or going off the deep end, and maybe you're like, I can't keep anybody in my life. There is a reason things are happening the way they're happening, and there's a response that God has for you that can keep you in perfect peace no matter how much things are changing and people are changing around you. We're talking about difficult people. I believe this message is going to make a great investment in your life. Thank you for giving me this little bit of time. Thank you for letting me make this investment. May the word of God bless you richly. I'm going to get out of the way. Let's hear what God has to say about how to deal with difficult people. So we come to John chapter 15, and Jesus is talking to his disciples. All right, let me go a little bit further. Also in relationships, you have this, you have this, and you have this. This. You have mentors. You have people you look to for leadership. You have people whose opinion you respect. You have people that when they speak, you learn. You have people that you watch their life. You watch the way they live it. These are people right here. This is for the businessman or woman. This is old hat, but I really teach the staff here. When you have problems, you go up. You go up. Can I drop a truth bomb on you? Never share a problem with anyone that doesn't have the ability to solve it. Ever. I don't ever share a problem with anybody if they don't have the potential to help me solve that problem. Because when you go up with your problems, you're looking for a solution. When you talk down, you're spreading gossip and drama. So we have people that we look to for leadership. Then we have people that look to us for leadership. This is not diminishing who they are. It's not saying they're less than, but there are people we look to, then there are people that look to us. There are people that watch our life. There are people that value our opinion. There are people that we are responsible for. These are the people that God puts in your life to elevate them, not keep them there, but to make them great and empower them and disciple them and train them and educate them. And any wisdom you have, pass it on. Why? So they can attain the same level you attain, and they can rise just like God has caused you to rise. So everybody, it doesn't matter if it's in a company or just in life, there are people up here and there are relationships we have like this. But then you got this other one, this peer relationship. It's a friendship. It's not necessarily anybody looking to me, and it's not necessarily anybody that I'm looking to, but we are brought together because we share commonalities. We enjoy the same activities. We enjoy the same foods. We enjoy going to the same places. We enjoy conversation about the same things. We enjoy the same hobbies. We enjoy the same sports. We like to use the same outlets to detox and get away from our normal activities. And these are the things that forge friendships. It's not this relationship. It's not this. But it is somebody that I relate to on my level, and they relate to me on their level, and we get along as friends. That is what Jesus is doing in John 15. Jesus called all of these disciples and said, follow me and I will make you. I will make you. Not I will force you. I will develop you. I will take responsibility to make you better. I will take responsibility to make sure you are a disciplined person. The root word of disciple is discipline. Those 12 men, they were disciplined men. Discipline. Come follow me, I'll make you fishers of men. Watch me do what I do. Watch how I talk to people. Watch how I touch people. Watch how I care. Watch how I love them. Watch how I treat people that are in sin. Watch how I treat people that need grace and mercy. Watch how I touch the lepers. Watch how I heal the sick. Watch how I deliver the bound. Come with me and I will make you fishers of men. Watch how I love and treat and heal and save. I want you to keep an eye on what I do, Because Jesus has got 3.5 years to take 12 random guys and turn them into world changers. And 3.5 years after being with Jesus, Jesus is going to die, go back to heaven, and these men will have the responsibility of carrying the gospel of Jesus to the whole known world. So he's got 3 years, and he catches them when they're right here. And sometimes this is John 15 is just one of those chapters we just read through it, but there's a big shift. Jesus said, all right, today I'm changing the relationship. I no longer will relate to you like this. I'm moving you here. The friend of Jesus. Not the disciple of Jesus. Oh, I wonder how good it'd be to be Jesus' friend. Look what he says changes the nature of the relationship. I'm not going to keep you here, because when you're here, a servant does not know his master's business. So the thing that keeps you at arm's length is what you don't know. But today I call you friends, because everything my Father has told me, I'm telling you. Say this out loud if you would. Information creates intimacy. Information creates. Jesus says, I'm going to bring you closer. And the way I'm going to bring you closer is through information. Intimacy has nothing to do with the body. Intimacy has nothing to do with the bedroom. Intimacy has nothing to do with sex. There are people out there having all kind of sex and they've never been intimate. In fact, you can't have good sex until you learn how to be intimate. Intimacy is just like the word into me, see. Are you into me? If you're not into me, you can't have me. Into me, see. See into me. That's intimacy. Intimacy is information. I bring you in close when I start telling you things that are inside of me. That's how I change the relationship. People say, do you know so-and-so? And I say, well, I haven't really been around them. I know of them. What am I saying? I don't know them well. Why? Because we have not exchanged much information. So information changes the nature. Jesus didn't say, I'm now going to cause you friends because of this, that, and other. He says, I'm going to tell you stuff that you didn't know. When you were on this level, I didn't let you know it. If I'm going to bring you in close, then I've got to tell you things that are on the inside of me. You've got to understand that when you begin to share information, the nature of the relationship is going to change. I go back to 2 weeks ago. Is the person that you're about to share the information with qualified to be a listener? Because you don't want people handling your precious information who have no character and who have not qualified themselves to hear that stuff. That's why before you get married, it would be good if you would date at least a day or two. To see if the people that you're about to say I do to are ready for the kind of information they're going to find out. Because it's very hard to hide things when you live in the house with them. So they're going to find out. Information creates intimacy. And I'm going to say that, I want it ringing in here. Information creates intimacy. So Jesus understands that if I'm going to move this relationship from one level to another, I'm going to have to expose the things to them that up until this point only I'm hiding in my heart. Folks, you've got to understand that too much of the time our intimate information is created out of pain. Okay? And one danger to pain is people tend to bond out of it. And you've met at Starbucks, and sudden 10 minutes later over a cappuccino, you're trying to tell each other about how bad your divorces were. You don't even know his last name. That is tremendously private information. That's painful information. That's traumatizing information. That's life-changing information. That's where you needed grace. That's where you needed mercy. That's where God had to renew your strength. That's where you had to find a place in God to get up the next morning. That's where God had to restore you from disappointment and unmet expectations and what you thought life was going to be versus what it actually turned that out to be. And all of a sudden you have somebody and all they've done is just paid for your coffee, and you are taking your pearls and throwing it before swine. Jesus said you don't take the precious things you have and throw them out to people who have not qualified to hear it. If people are not qualified to be a confidant, then the information that you have read, that you have released, can and will be used against you. That's what Jesus called it, throwing pearls before swine. He was talking about the kingdom, only he had the information of the kingdom, and what he's saying is, I'm not giving it to just anybody. He said, I will be particular about who I teach these keys to, because these keys unlock heaven, and I'm not giving keys to dangerous people. So Jesus is shifting the relationship, and he's using information to do it. Information creates intimacy. It's truth number one. Can I go to number two? Somebody say, preach on, preacher. Preach on, preacher.
Get that?
Most all of us deal with difficult people daily. Learning how to deal with difficult people can be difficult in itself. In Ron Carpenter's series, The Difficult People, you'll learn how to cope and balance those relationships.
You've got to understand that when you begin to share information, the nature of the relationship is going to change. Is the person that you're about to share the information with qualified to be a listener? Because you are putting weight on that relationship it was not designed to support. Your heart is going to get broken, and there's a load of pain headed your way.
This 7-message series is available for your gift of $40 or more. Call now and receive free shipping and an MP3 download card, or visit roncarpenter.com or write to the address on your screen.
You can only love to the level of what you know. You can't love beyond what you know. My love parallels my knowledge. When I met Hope, I wanted to get to know her more. Do you see what I'm talking about? Because I loved what I knew up till now. So let's know some more, so that I can love some more. I'm working this thing. Am I all right? Let me illustrate it. I see some doubters up there. You love on the level you know. You got John. John is career military guy. He's 35 years old. He's a captain now in the military. He's done two tours in Iraq. He's finished, and he's coming home. He's got a 2-year-old that he loves, but he's barely had time to see because he's been serving his country. So he's coming home for the final time. And he opens the door, Daddy's home. The 2-year-old has some knowledge of his daddy. He runs to Daddy, he tugs the leg, he tags on the britches leg, and you've got him for about 45 seconds, and then he's gonna run right back to what he was doing. Why? Because he loves parallel to what he knows, and he does not have much history with the man named John. But now you've got the wife. She's been married for 10 years since they were 25. And when little Johnny runs on back to Nickelodeon and starts watching again, but she's sitting there and her eyes have not moved because she has 10 years of history. And she has thrown her arms around him. She has now thrown her legs around him. Whether he's tired or not, he's holding her weight. Right there in the threshold of the door. She hasn't let him walk past the threshold. They're swapping glances. They're swapping kisses. The hug is extended. It lasts for about 5 minutes. They don't want to go anywhere. They just want to feel the warmth of each other's love. So you've got now her. She's loving different because she has a different level of knowledge. She has a 10-year knowledge history. The boy has a very limited 2-year knowledge history. But mama now lives in the house with them, and she just sits over in the corner and she's just crying. Why? Because she don't know him for 2 years and she don't know him for 10 years. She's known him for the whole 35 years. And she just is glad she's in the, she don't need a hug. She don't need a britches leg. She's just crying because she's glad that he made it again and God kept her baby boy safe and that he got there and he made it back home. And all she needed to know was that he was all right. So she just sits there and tears run down her face. Why? Because you love on the level you know. She birthed him. She carried him in her womb. She changed his diaper. She took him to kindergarten. She was there when he graduated. She saw him put on his military uniform. Mama loves on a whole different level because there ain't been a day mama hadn't been there. Somebody shout hallelujah. You love, knowledge creates intimacy, and then you love on the level of the knowledge you have. No relationship is sustainable when one person is doing all the giving. Now, y'all don't know this side of me. I am a loving guy. I'm a big teddy bear in a lot of ways, but I will take the word and let it sting when it's supposed to sting. Can I let, this is going to, tell your neighbor, say, I got a feeling this is going to sting a little bit. It's going to There's some of you that you look around your life and you've had a hard time sustaining friendships. And some of you, could it be because it costs too much to be your friend? There are some people, they are just takers. They're just takers. You want to know some of the most difficult people to be around? People that walk into everything thinking of what they can get out of it. Those are some of the most difficult people in the world because they drain you. They always have a problem. You've been their friend 10 years and you have never had a conversation that wasn't about them. And they drain you, they deplete you, they do not add to you. They pull from you. And then your husband gets home, you get home to your husband and you look like a mummy. Because you have nothing more, because they're like a corpse. They have sucked all the life out of you. It's what they're going through. It's what is hurting them. And it's the situation that they're in. And they have never been in a place like this. And they're the people where they always, you take them to lunch and they just happen to be a little short. If I'm always buying the hamburger, if you always a little short, y'all don't want to say nothing, I know it. If I'm always the one making sure you got enough change, if I'm always the one making sure that your tank is full, if I'm always the one talking to you about your problem, I can't sustain a relationship like that. That relationship is limited, and the first chance I get, I'm going to be looking at a door to exit it. Why? Not because I don't like you, but because being your friend costs too much. You take too much from me. You take too much out of me. Put Galatians 6 and verse, let's go to 6:9 and let's walk it backwards. Go to 6:9. And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we don't lose heart. Verse 6:8. For he who sows to the flesh will of the flesh reap corruption, and he who sows to the spirit will reap everlasting life. Verse 7. Do not be deceived, God is not mocked, for whatever a man sows, that will he reap. Go back to verse 6. I'm doing this for a reason, so I say, what's he doing? Back to verse 6. Yeah, backward. There we go. Everybody knows, do not be deceived, God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that shall he reap. Those who sow to the flesh reap the flesh. Those who sow to the spirit. But nobody reads this one. Let him who is taught the word share in all good things with him who teaches. Do you know why God put that principle in there? Because I need to be replenished. Nobody can sustain it. Do you know when my most vulnerable day is? Sunday evening. Because I have worked all week to get to this point. I have had every meeting I have had. We have planned everything we can plan. I have studied all I can study. I've been in here during the wee hours of Saturday night praying for everything. And then I give out physically and emotionally. And I don't know if y'all know it or not, but I put a whole lot into preaching. And I do everything I can to make sure you get word every time you show up. But you know what the Word of God is saying? It's not fair for you to go home ready to take on the devil and I walk out the back door. So when I'm preaching and a word goes forth that makes your life better, I need to know. Why? Because do you know how I get replenished? When I know something that has gone out of me has benefited you, and then you take the testimony that you have and turn around and bless me. Has something that has been preached increased your life? Did you and your husband get something out of that that made your marriage better? I need to know. You need to email me. You need to write me a letter. You need to private message me. I need to look. Why? I don't have an S on my shirt, and when I give out, I'm depleted, and no preacher can handle a one-sided relationship. When something good happens in the house of God, turn around and tell your preacher. Tap your neighbor on both sides. Say, he needs to know. Tell him he needs to know. See, whenever the great men of God in my life, whenever I receive something from them that makes me better, I always turn back around and reciprocate something. Why? I should not be increased while they are diminished. But there should be a cycle. While something's going out of me, something should be put back in me. So that there's something going out of me, so that something's being put back in me, so that something's going out. That's the way a relationship that is healthy should be in your life. You can't sustain it when you're the only one praying. You're the only one giving. You're the only one paying. You're the only one encouraging. Somebody sometimes got to come back around and tell you something good about yourself. Somebody's got to encourage you. Somebody got to reach in their pocket and say, I got it today. Come on, somebody. Somebody's got to turn around and say, let me just be an encouragement to you and make your life better. Somebody's got to turn around. When you always babysitting their kids, but they never baby. Even Jesus could not sustain that type of relationship. And I'm closing with these statements. John chapter 5, Jesus is healing people. John chapter 6, Jesus is healing people. Go further in John chapter 6, after he's been healing people in chapter 5 and chapter 6, then after he turns around from healing, everybody looks, and 5,000 men are sitting on the hillside, not counting women and children. And now all of them's hungry. So Jesus has to call 5 loaves and 2 fishes together and start distributing for maybe upwards of 20,000 people. That's a lot of fish. After he's been healing all day. And if you read a little later in John chapter 6, you can hear Jesus's frustration. Because he finally turns around and he says, you know what? Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no part with me. And the Bible says, and from that day forward, many followed him not. As soon as Jesus turned around and said, sometime or another, you got to love me back.
Sometimes I hear things come out of my mouth, and I think, where did that come from? I can see my Father coming out in me when I say things.
He doesn't need to always be right. He'll yell at me and yell at me and yell at me, and you can only take so much.
Was your family encouraging and supportive, or did you come from a family who had at least one critical person? Are you now that critical person hurting others with your words and attitudes? How can you build a bridge to healthy relationships?
As we each solve the puzzle that is our life, we often have questions we can't answer. Usually, they're those little nagging questions that come up just about every day. But sometimes they're larger, and occasionally much larger. So large, in fact, that the answer or even the question itself can have life-changing consequences. June Hunt believes the best answers to these questions come from God Himself, and He's given us those answers in the Bible. June is ready to guide us to those biblical answers here on Hope for the Heart.
I struggle with a critical spirit, and I feel stuck.
Do you know the cause?
My father was critical, and I can see my father coming out in me when I say things.
How did it impact you growing up when he was critical toward you?
I think I closed up.
Your mom, what did she do?
Not a whole lot. He criticized her also. There's the little things he would blow out of proportion.
What was the home dynamic? Who was critical? Dad was critical. What did Mom do? Yeah, passive, and she was criticized. How empowered was she to do anything? Yeah. When there's nothing modeled but that as success, meaning he's the only one with the power, it's very difficult. She didn't see anything else that would be a compliment.
When do you think that you first began to have a critical spirit?
I don't know. I've only realized it in the past year, or maybe 2 years. I'm in a relationship now with a young man my age. He's such a godly man.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay.
And sometimes I hear things come out of my mouth, and I think, where did that come from? Because I don't think that about him.
Give me an example of something that you said.
My typical reaction after church, I want to leave and either go out or do something, and he tends to hang around. Church gets over at noon, and maybe by 2 o'clock we'll leave.
Okay.
My initial reaction is, come on, we've been here forever, let's go. Last Sunday after church, one of my friends said something like, what are you going to do this afternoon? And I said, probably stand around here until 4 o'clock and then leave and get something to eat and then come back. It was a very critical thing to say. He was standing right there, and I was just wanting him to leave, but I said it to someone else. And I thought, that's horrible.
What do you think she was feeling as time ticked away? Frustration, impatience. Out of control. Oh, out of control, yeah. She had no power.
Right. Resentment.
Resentment? Yeah, he wasn't paying attention. He wasn't seeing her need. Did she communicate her position to him? No. What does that represent? Her childhood? Yeah, like her mother. Mom didn't do anything. She was criticized. By the way, there's a psychological term for when you're being non-direct.
Passive-aggressive.
That's it. Passive-aggressive. What is passive-aggressive?
You come in the back door.
Yeah. You want in, you're not going to come in the front door, because really, it could be a little fearful. Be aware, those who are passive-aggressive are fear-based. A passive person is fear-based. The passive-aggressive person wants something, but finds another subversive, covert way to get it. What type of language did she use in this conversation with her boyfriend?
Sarcasm.
Sarcasm. Is sarcasm passive-aggressive? Mm-hmm. What would it look like if she didn't use a passive-aggressive means and say exactly what she was thinking? What would she say? It's like laying it on the table. Just what is it that you want?
I'd like to leave.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to leave. Are you ready? And there are different ways to say it, as opposed to, I'll probably be here till 4 in the afternoon. She's not used to doing that, and so she's going to have to learn how to do that.
I could have said, it's time for us to go, or I'm really ready to leave, or something like that, but instead...
You used sarcasm.
Right.
And it wasn't humorous, it was to jab.
Right.
It was to make your point.
Right.
Good. I'm glad you recognized that. So many times it's not the issue itself, it's the spirit. It is the way it's done, because criticism can be very helpful. We often need constructive criticism. The issue is, how do we communicate to another person? Are we saying it in a way that's constructive, helpful, accurate?
I guess I could have said that I was going to my home. I know that he wanted to spend the afternoon with me, So I feel like that would have also been manipulative. So I would have said, well, I'm just going home, or I realize you want to stay around, but I'm going to go home.
Would that be manipulative? Yeah, that's what she would like. She's a human being. She has an ability. We're not possessions to be owned. By the way, I have a friend. She had another friend who would get very upset with her because this friend wasn't as timely, and the other friend was highly punctual. And they shared an apartment together. Both great people. It just drove the timely one up the wall and down the other. It just drove her batty. What do you think she might have learned to do? Go herself, and finally, then there's freedom. And you think, but ideally, it'd be best for us to go together. But sometimes life is not ideal. Sometimes you just have to make choices as to, well, what will bring the most peace in this situation? It gave a boundaried relationship. I'm an individual, you're an individual, you're not a possession. At times, instead of just sitting there criticizing, it's like, wait a minute, I'm responsible for my attitude. What would be an attitude that would be pleasing to the Lord? For me, not for any other person, but for me. What attitude can I display that will be pleasing to God? Fortunately, she's recognizing. Well, I had a critical spirit. What if she finds herself in that same position again? Let me just tell you this situation. What is cut out of here is actually she lives an hour away, the opposite direction from him, and they were going to spend the time together in the afternoon. So let's assume now she can't just go home, because that would have been the logical thing, that she could go home and he could join her, right? Okay. So that not being the situation, what's a creative alternative for her if she doesn't want to be a nag? Go shopping. Sounds like a woman after most women's hearts. The point is, she needs alternatives so she doesn't feel powerless. She's feeling powerless and knows that she's reacting. She said he's a godly young man. Now, he may be insensitive, not knowing what to do. He may not even be aware of what he's doing. And he needs her to sensitize him in a gracious way, but not with sarcasm.
No, actually, that's a very legitimate way to handle it. I know we're going to spend some time a little bit later. I want to slip out right now. I don't want to pull you away. When it's convenient, we'll meet up and do what we want to do. But feel free to stay as long as you want. There are just some things I'd like to do at my house. Tell me something that you would enjoy doing, because there are always creative alternatives.
Right. I'm a youth leader. My teenagers are all over the place after church. I could have filled that time ministering.
Okay. Do you ever have something that you'd really like to read and you never seem to find time?
Yeah, there's a book, yeah.
I have always got something that I can work on so that I am not the victim. Oh, good. Here's an opportunity for me to get this done. Part of the way to learn how to do something in a different way is to understand the cause. There is power when you use criticism, what I call the seesaw. You push somebody else down, and for the moment, you feel like you rise up. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I understand that.
You don't want a relationship that is seesawing back and forth, because you're really getting nowhere.
Right.
It can keep you busy going up and down, but there's not stability there.
It sounds like there's a pattern she's in where she's powerless. Instead of having our own way, we've got to decide, okay, I need to either give grace. I can't force people to do what I want them to do. I've got to have an alternative. There has to be a working out. What is unacceptable is just being sarcastic and taking pot shots because you feel powerless. God's given us a mind to be able to use and to be able to talk with others in a healthy way.
A pattern can be changed. We're transformed by the renewing of our minds. So, say, I would like to make sure that what I do is encouraging to others, not discouraging. I want you to write down Colossians 4:6. Let your conversation always be full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. Would you like the scripture to be a reflection of what you do?
Yes.
Okay. What does the word grace mean?
It means that they don't deserve it.
Okay. So last Sunday, this man was substantially beyond your comfort level, leaving church, once you start feeling that churning in your stomach or you're getting upset, you're going to have a filter. We can call it your grace filter. Nothing can get through unless it contains grace. Anything that's critical, it's like big pebbles getting caught by a sifter. What does a flour sifter catch?
The big stuff that you don't want.
Right. Big lumps of flour. There's nothing wrong with the flour. It's just the wrong consistency. The flour is not the problem. It's that it's a big lump. It's going to mess up the recipe if not dealt with. So there's nothing wrong with me having a problem with leaving at 2 o'clock. What I'm going to do is come up with a creative alternative and be able to say it in a kind way. If he's being thoughtless, instead of me saying, you are so thoughtless, all you're thinking about is you, instead it's saying, I want my conversation to be full of grace, giving him something he doesn't deserve.
What is next in that verse? Let your conversation be full of grace, seasoned with salt. Why salt? It's a preservative. You realize if her conversation is right, it could preserve this relationship and not be tearing it apart.
Do you have a relationship that's being torn apart by a critical spirit? June will be back with more in just a minute. This is Hope for the Heart with June Hunt. You can hear this series again through our mobile app or online. Just look for the title Critical Spirit or call for your CD copy. And for first-time callers, we have a special gift for you. It's June's mini-book, Depression, Emerging from Darkness into the Dawn. Let's return now to June as she talks with a woman who's being hurt by her husband's critical spirit.
I was hoping you could help me out with a problem I have with my husband. He has a need to always be right in arguments. He tends to lie and distort and go through all lengths just to be right.
So give me a scenario that was really painful, explosive. What happened?
The dumbest of things, June. Let's say a soda can sprayed when you opened it up.
Mm-hmm.
He'd claim it never has happened to him before, but halfway in it, he'll own that, of course it's happened to him. But then I could still be beat down for this when he just says something. He'll say he never said that. It's very confusing. He's a hypocrite about himself.
I'm going to just come back and repeat what she said so that she can correct me if I'm saying it wrong or if I'm thinking wrong. And I think that's a very important thing, to repeat back what is said to make sure you're hearing it correctly and that they hear that you're listening.
I'm hearing a person who has a critical spirit. He's criticizing you. He's always right. Is that right?
Well, he claims I'm this way, too. That's just it. If I try to talk to him when things are cooled down the next day, he'll claim that it's me doing all these things.
Do you accept that?
Well, I admit to anything I'm doing wrong. My patience level isn't the same as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
He could lie to me 20 times over, and I would try to talk about it, attacking the problem, not him. But I've gotten to the point that now it's like if he lies to me 3 or 4 times, I'm blowing up too. And I admit my fault in that. I shouldn't blow up. But he'll snap at me first, and he'll yell at me and yell at me and yell at me. And you can only take so much. And I yell back. We have a problem, he can't listen. But he'll say, I'm cutting him off. I cut him off when he lies, admittedly, because I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea why he lies?
I really don't.
What are the major reasons, and I'm going to pick 2, that you think people lie?
Significance.
All right. Think of love, significance, and security. If you're afraid, a lot of people lie, right? The issue is security is threatened. You said significance, trying to appear as something you're not because of feeling insignificant. So there are 2 primary reasons that people lie: to feel significant or to feel protected. Significant or protected. So now I'm going to need to find out which one of these is she talking about, because to help her, we've got to figure out what we're dealing with here.
Does he lie to protect himself, or does he lie to make himself look more important? Does he fabricate and make up things?
He does both.
Is there one more predominant? Is it more like when he's getting caught?
I'd say it'd be predominantly when he's getting caught.
Okay, so it would make me wonder, was somebody very hard on him when he was young?
His mother and father, I know when he was younger, he would bring home decent grades. He brought home B's and C's. They'd say, you could do better.
So it was like they were never pleased with him,
You
so
could
he
do
wasn't
better.
acceptable.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, there's a reason why somebody has a pattern of lying. What I'm wanting you to see is your husband is a scared little boy. Obviously, he is insecure.
I believe that.
And I'm not trying to defend what he's doing.
Right.
But if you can think of it this way, think about a seesaw. You and I are on the seesaw. If I push you down, where do I go?
Up.
I go up, yes. If I'm up, I can feel pretty good up there.
Right.
This is what your husband is doing. He's pushing you down. This is a way for him to feel good about himself. But that's no solution, is it?
No.
Now, what you've got to do is to get off the seesaw.
How do I do that?
How do you get off the seesaw? Really?
Continue to do that. I will walk out of the room, and I won't engage in this yelling match any longer.
When you get involved in yelling, shouting, any kind of negative communication, you have just put yourself on the level of the offender.
Does that make you as bad as the offender?
We just are responsible for our part. The better thing is to just say, is that Christ-like? Is that what he would have me do? It's not the comparison, because, see, we could always find people that are better than us and worse than us. In fact, we're told in Corinthians that if you compare yourself with others, you are not wise. There's a real caution about comparing. Even though I appreciate the question, I'm not trying to negate it. But I think the issue is, if it's wrong, it's wrong. What we want to do is understand this seesaw. Okay, no more yelling, no more arguing. Basically, you were talking about putting a specific boundary. How did you say that again, in essence?
When we start engaging in the yelling and screaming, I will be walking out of the room.
Okay, very clear. You need clarity. Lots of words are not helpful. Short, simple, to the point, so that it's memorable. And you have to follow through. Whatever your boundary is, you can say, you know, honey, I love you. I want us to have the best relationship possible. And I really don't believe we're pulling the best out of each other right now. Because of that, I've decided I'm getting off the seesaw. It's like we have the seesaw going up and down. There will be some points, because there are specific points she's going to need to make. My mother, she knew I was going to be speaking on this topic. She handed me one time a piece of paper. It's a poem of sorts. And this is what it said. People are unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people may accuse you of selfish motives. Do good anyway. If you are successful, you may win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and transparency make you vulnerable. Be honest and transparent anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People who really want to help may attack you if you help them. Help them anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you may get hurt. Give the world your best anyway. Where I do writing, there are some birds, and I stand there incredibly amazed. And I feel sure you have been amazed too as you've watched birds fly in this phenomenal formation, the V formation. And they do these quick turns and dives, and they just stay together. And the extraordinary thing is that they can literally fly over thousands of miles without ever landing. Now, how could that be? How could birds from this continental United States fly to Hawaii? There's a lead bird who takes the brunt of the air force, the force of the wind. And because of the efficiency, the way God made birds, with the uplift of the birds by their wings, they work 60% less than if they were flying alone. So you have your lead bird, and after a while, the lead bird drops off and goes to the back and is carried with the uplift. It's like the draft, the uplift of the other birds. Isn't that what we are to do?